and this is my review for Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Crankcase. Crankcase, as you can see, is a black Chevy Suburban. Crankcase is one of the three dreads in Transformers Dark of the Moon. The other two are Hatchet and Crowbar. And from my understanding, something weird is that in the movie, the dreads all have the same alt form, which is this black Chevy Suburban. But in the Dark of the Moon toy line, they each have a different alt mode. Crankcase, as you can see, is obviously the black Chevy Suburban. Hatchet is the... I think he turns into a plane or something like that, and I forget what Crowbar transforms into, but the point is they all have different alt modes, and that, in my opinion, is a real shame. I would have liked it had Hasbro tried a little bit harder to get three different-looking robot characters that all had the same vehicle mode, and I think that would have been really, really awesome, but oh well. Personal gripe, I guess beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, I will say right off the bat, this definitely is, of the Dark of the Moon figures I have, my least favorite, and it's not really a bad looking figure in either mode. I just think it had a lot of potential that got wasted, which I'll show off in both modes. Starting off with the alt form and the complaints I have about it. It overall isn't a bad looking alt form. It isn't painted, but honestly, what kind of paint apps are you going to do on a black Chevy Suburban anyway? It does have a very nice Decepticon symbol on both sides of the doors and this very nice translucent clear and red light bar right here. It actually has two of them, one on the front and one on the back, so it's not a bad looking robot mode, or vehicle mode until you look under the vehicle mode, and you can just see some of this probably couldn't have been folded away. Like these pieces, for instance, actually play a gimmick, so I'm glad they didn't make these fold away. But these pieces right here, I just really don't understand why they didn't just find a way to make them fold up. And it wouldn't have been perfect. You probably still could have seen them even if they did fold up. But why just leave them stationary, Hasbro? It just looks really, really bad, in my opinion. And also, just due to the chunkiness of these treads, which actually do have very, very nice detailing, as you can see. But just due to their chunkiness, rolling him along certain surfaces can be a bit of a pain. He doesn't roll very well on any wooden surface or linoleum or anything. He does roll all right on carpet, but I usually tend to roll my Transformers on hard surfaces, so that is a bit of a complaint. And again, they didn't paint the rims. Come on, Hasbro, step it up. Start painting the rims. But anyway, he does also have the really cool gimmick, and this really is the saving grace for me in vehicle mode. This is the one gimmick I just absolutely love. He does have these claws right here, and what you can do with them is you can rotate them around, like so, and you can give them some pincers on the front of the car, which does vaguely look like the Insecticon with claws that are like these. I always forget his name. He does have claws sticking out of the middle of his back. It just looks really, really neat. I really like that idea, and I think it actually is film accurate, because I do remember in a trailer that Ironhide smashed into one of the dreads. Some pieces like this did pop out, which was rather cool. So I do like that they actually did add a film accurate gimmick, which I think is kind of neat. Now, he does come with his MechTech weapon like any other Dark of the Moon figure. And you'll recall my Dark of the Moon Sideswipe and Shockwave reviews that I thought they had really cool MechTech weapons. Well, this guy's MechTech weapon I just do not like. It is a gun, it is big and it is bulky, but the problem is it's just too bulky, even in his hands, and it doesn't look as bad with some other figures in his hands, but it just doesn't look that good in his hands regardless, because it's just way too big. I don't really understand why they had to make it so big, but it really just is a poorly sized weapon. It is very nicely detailed though, which I do like. It does have a rather neat MechTech weapon gimmick of where you pull on this amber sight piece, and it does extend into this claw, which is one of the better MechTech weapon gimmicks, I think. I do think it is rather neat looking, but overall, I just really don't like this MechTech weapon. So there is that. Some people may like it. I personally don't. Anyway, to transform this guy, I will say, transforming him into vehicle mode can be a real pain. It's not really because it's a hard transformation or anything, but it doesn't peg in very well together. You do have to work with it to get everything to tab in properly, which is a bit of a complaint. It's not as big an issue going into robot mode, but it is a big issue when transforming him into vehicle mode from robot form. Anyway, start off transformation, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and lift this piece up and go ahead and flip out the claws, if you haven't done so already. Then what you want to do is you want to take these pieces right here and you want to untab them from the rest of the door. Then what you want to do is you want to raise these pieces up like so. Do the same on this side. Untab these pieces and then raise them up. Then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and flip his head upward a little bit. We'll get to that in a minute. You want to rotate these pieces up. Then there's a peg right here. Then it's kind of hard to see. There's a little hole in the middle of his chest. What you want to do is you want to raise these pieces up and get them to line up with that hole. And then push his chest piece up to lock them in place. It doesn't lock into place, but it does hold them together pretty securely, which is nice. I'll go ahead and rotate these pieces down and around. We'll get back to them later. Then with his legs, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and flip this piece up and then split this all along the back. Then what you want to do is you want to flip this piece back. Actually, first off, you want to go ahead and push in this wheel like so and then flip it forward. Then what you want to do is you want to rotate this panel down and then flip out this little silver foot piece and then flip it forward to form his foot. Actually, like that. You want to get it to look like that, and then you want to rotate it around like so. That is a pretty neat little leg transformation. It is very unique. I really do like it. Go ahead and also, you want to flip up his waist, like so, and tab it into the rest of his body. Anyway, do the same on this side. Go ahead and push that wheel in, push it forward, flip out the foot, and then get it to, you want to get it to go around the wheel, and then rotate it around like so. So he does have some pretty neat looking legs. I do kind of like the overall design of having the wheels in the middle of his legs rather than on the outside, which is common with a lot of Transformers. I do think that is a really neat little leg transformation. I really do like it. Anyway, then what you want to do is you want to rotate this piece up. And this can be a little bit scary, and I'll really show off why once I fully transform it. But anyway, then what you want to do is you want to rotate this piece all the way back like so. Then go ahead and flip this up. I'll go ahead and flip his head down like so. I'll flip it around. And the reason I said it's scary is because you can kind of already see it. This black piece right here, let me get my light. I'm a little bit more focused on it. You can see this black piece right here, it tends to get caught on his head, so it has stressed a little bit, so I'm worried that it's going to end up breaking off, which won't be that big a deal since I don't really like his robot mode or vehicle mode, but it's still, I still would rather have a fully intact toy rather than a broken one, so that is something to watch out for, as that tab does like to bend and stress a little bit, so do be careful when transforming it. I haven't had an issue with this tab, but I'm sure on some copies of the mold, the issue is on the other tab, so do be watchful for that, and do be weary of it while you do transform this guy. Anyway, then what you want to do is you want to take this piece and flip it up onto his back. Then you can position the claws or pincers however you like. I usually like to put them like this just because I think it looks coolest, but you have some options with it. You can also, if you want, pop them off since they are on ball joints, but I like to leave them on. Then you want to flip out his hands, and mine does come with the cut off middle finger, which honestly I'm really glad they did. I think that would have been really rather wrong, just having the middle finger extended. I think that just would have been really, really bad. So I would have preferred it had they remolded the thumb rather than just cut it off, but oh well. I guess it is better to have a cut off finger than one making obscene gestures, right? But anyway, then you want to go ahead and flip this wheel up against his arm. And then with these panels, you can leave them off to the side like this if you want. You can rotate them around to accommodate more poses. But I usually go ahead and just push them back onto his arm just because I think that makes his arms look a little bit less skinny. Anyway, flip out his hand, then rotate this back, then go ahead and push the panel back on, then straighten out his arms, and get him to stand. And there you have Crankcase in robot mode. And very cool looking. I'm not going to deny this is a very, very cool looking robot mode. I'll get into some of the issues. I'll talk about what I like about it first. And the main point that I like is this head sculpt. Let that speak for itself, folks. That is just an awesome head sculpt in my opinion. I just absolutely love it. I know a lot of people complain about the movie face designs, but I just think that you know, haters are gonna hate, but I just think that this is absolutely wicked awesome. And he does have very, very nice light piping. He's got 4 eyes, so it just really, really glows really well. I'm really not that big a fan of the dreads, but oh well, it's just overall such a cool looking head sculpt design that I can forgive it. I'm really not sure why they made them out of this gold plastic. I understand that maybe the coloring they are in the movie, but I don't know why they had to make it this shade of gold. You can, if you want, actually rotate them back a little bit more, but it is rather difficult. You do risk popping it off, so I'm not going to do it on camera, but you can do some stuff with the dreads that I'm not going to show off on camera. But anyway, I also just really do like his overall design. I think it's a really neat looking design, but he does have a bit of issues, and I'll get into those right now. And the first off is his posability, which isn't bad. His head does rotate left and right, but sadly just due to the sculpt, it doesn't look up and down, so it can be a little bit difficult finding a position for his head that looks rather good, which is a bit of a shame. He does have ball jointed shoulders. I should point out, when I got this guy, all the joints on him that were ball joints were loose, so I did have to apply some super glue, and it took a lot of super glue, which I was really surprised at. I'm not sure if Hasbro just switched plastics, but it was really, really difficult to tighten these up. He also does have a hinge right here, just due to transformation, to help him accommodate some more poses. He does have an upper bicep swivel, which is nice. He does bend at the elbow. There's no rotational joint at the elbow. The bicep swivel does kind of make up for that, but I still think I would have preferred a rotation joint at the elbow. He does have ball jointed hips, which again were loose. He does have a mid-thigh swivel. His knee bends, and the feet go up and down just a little bit just due to transformation. So, you know, you can accomplish some poses with them, but nowhere near as many as I would like, especially for such a cool looking figure. I think that he should be in really, really cool poses, and he's such a cool looking figure. Anyway, you can't give him his mech tech weapons. He can't hold it in his hands just due to the fact that his hands are rubbery. So they did sculpt in some mech tech ports up on his forearms, and it does do a pretty good job of hiding the port when you've got it in his hand, which is nice. But like I said, I think it just looks too big for him. It doesn't look that bad just looking at it face on or front on, but it just doesn't really look that good in my opinion. And you can still, of course, activate the mech tech gimmick, which, like I said, it's not a bad mech tech gimmick, but I don't know. I just really don't like the mech tech weapon overall, which I've said probably 50 times in this review, but whatever. But anyway, for some quick size comparisons, first off, here he is next to Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee. So you can see, at the head, these earpieces do make him just a little bit taller than the average deluxe, but at the head level, he's actually just a little bit shorter than Bumblebee. So, like I said, some of these Dark of the Moon figures have been downsized. In fact, most of the line has been downsized overall, but it's really not that big a deal in my opinion. And then just for fun, I will compare him to another Beast former from the movie line, Revenge of the Fallen Ravage, and I think they look really neat together. I'll probably end up displaying them together at some point. Anyway, so overall, yeah, like I said, most of the Dark of the Moon line is up to personal preference. I picked this guy up simply because I thought he looked really cool. So I don't think as a toy he's a very strong toy, but as a display piece he's really not that bad. So I guess I overall can recommend him, but again, most of the Dark of the Moon line is personal preference, and he's no exception. So there you go, my look at Transformers Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Crankcase. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.